So we started from the verse 23rd, where Narad Muni is giving his history, the case study, as what happened with him and how he came to this position of being the avatar, the Shakti Abhesh avatar of Bhakti Shakti. Anyone remembers what happened to him? How he came to this elevated position? Narad Muni, Gopal Prabhu? नारद मुनि को ये नारद ऋषि वाली, ये देव ऋषि वाली स्थिति कैसे उत्पन्न हुई?
हरे कृष्णा।
हाँ, हरे कृष्णा, बोलिए।
एक बार दोबारा रिपीट करेंगे क्वेश्चन का?
मैं बता रहा हूँ कि अब इस अध्याय का नाम है नारद मुनि के निर्देश, आदेश। लेकिन अभी जो प्रसंग आ रहा है, इसमें नारद मुनि का जो पूर्व इतिहास है, उसके बारे में नारद मुनि स्वयं ही चर्चा कर। तो नारद मुनि की स्थिति तक कैसे पहुंचे, उन्होंने बताया। कल हमने उस पर थोड़ी चर्चा की, शुरुआत की। तो कुछ स्मरण है आप?
इनके नारद मुनि प्रीवियस जन्म में एक दासी के यहाँ उनका बर्थ हुआ था, और तो इसके आगे प्रसंग मेरे को ध्यान नहीं है पूरा। कुछ ऐसा
दासी का पुत्र होने से तो वो भक्ति में शेष, मतलब प्रमुख नहीं हो सकते ना। ऐसा होता तो फिर तो कुछ और ही होता। आपको, आप पढ़े नहीं लगता है, मुझे लग रहा था कि आपको थोड़ा टेस्ट आ गया, आप डेली पढ़ रहे हैं। लेकिन आपने फिर वही कलयुग का प्रभाव दिखा दिया।
पढ़ा नहीं, बट मैं वो उसको सुना ही था, बट दोबारा पढ़ा नहीं मैंने उसको। टाइम तो जरूर देता हूँ सुबह भारत में, इतना ही
इतिहास नहीं
ध्यान है
सुन
मेरे
रहा
को।
मैं। यस सोनिका, बोलिए।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, mother of Narad Muni was engaged in the service of the devotees, and he also got the opportunity to serve those devotees, especially in the Chaturmas.
Yeah. The greatest opportunity, that he being the son of a maid servant, he took the position of a servant and he served. That was very glorious. So he wholeheartedly served, even as a child, those great yogis who had come. And that changed his fortune forever. Okay, so we'll go to the next verse. We'll go forward. Dayashil Prabhu has not joined so far. Someone can call him.
Prabhuji, I am recording, Prabhuji. No problem. I am here.
Acha. In the invisible mode or what? Huh?
Just I will come, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. Okay. We discussed the 23rd verse, so we'll go ahead with the 24th verse. So Narad Muni is giving his own track record, what happened with him, and what made him come to this position. He says, "Te mayy apetākhila-cāpale rbhake dānte dhṛta-krīḍanake nuvartini cakruḥ kṛpāṁ yadyapi tulya-darśanāḥ śuśrūṣamāṇe munayo lpa-bhāṣiṇi." So Narad Muni is saying, "Te mayy apetākhila-cāpale rbhake." Even though he was a child, he was very young, he was an orphan, his father was no longer there, he was being under the care of his mother. So still, even being as a child, what was he was? A-chapale. His proclivities were not like that of other boys. What is the proclivity of their boys? Is to run here and there, to play and to waste time. But it was not so with Narad Muni. He was dānte. Dānte means he was very well self-controlled. And he was dhṛta-krīḍanake. Without being accustomed to playing sports or mingling with boys and wasting time. And he was nuvartini. These were the good qualities. Obedient. And because of this, cakruḥ kṛpāṁ yadyapi tulya-darśanāḥ. And these sages, these bhakti-vedāntas, what they bestowed, they gave him kṛpāṁ. Kṛpāṁ means causeless mercy. Why they gave him causeless mercy? Yadyapi tulya-darśanāḥ. Because all these sages, they were in equal vision. Equal vision means they were impartial by nature. So Narad Muni is glorifying. He says, although he's talking about all those sages, although they were impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta bless me with their causeless mercy. Cakruḥ kṛpāṁ. As far as I was concerned, on his part, I was self-controlled and had no attachment for sports, even though I was a boy. In addition, I was not naughty. I was not naughty, Narad Muni is saying. And I did not speak more than required. Very, very important. Is lpa-bhāṣiṇi. One of the Vedas, the foremost of the Veda is Vacho Veda, is to speak. But Narad Muni did not speak more than required. So these were the very, very outstanding qualities, uncommon qualities which Narad Muni possessed right from his birth. He was not like an ordinary child, a playful child, or a naughty child, as Narad Muni is saying. This naughty girl. So this is very, very uncommon. So Narad Muni is saying. So what he received? He received kṛpā, satam kṛpā, sadhu kṛpā. He received the sadhu kṛpā. And how he received the sadhu kṛpā? Because he did the sadhu seva or mahat seva. So this is very important. As we do service, we become recipient of mercy. So Narad Muni was engaged. He was unflinchingly engaged in serving these devotees, and the devotees causelessly bestowed their mercy upon him. So Śrīla Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord says, all the Vedas are searching after me. Lord Caitanya said that in the Vedas, the subject matter are only three. Namely, to establish the relationship, the relation of the living entity to the personality of Godhead, to perform relative duties in devotional service, and to achieve the ultimate goal, going back to Godhead. So what does this three aspect mean, which Lord Caitanya has mentioned? Śrīla Prabhupada is quoting in 3 words. First is to establish relationship of the living entities with the personality of Godhead. Second is to perform relative duties in devotional service. And the final is to achieve the ultimate goal, going back to Godhead. Yes, Purushottam? बोलिए.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. ब्रह्मेति परमात्मे भगवान इति शब्द.
क्या बात कर रहे हैं? वो तो भगवान का रियलाइजेशन है ना, जो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ है. जो एब्सोल्यूट ट्रूथ है उसका रियलाइजेशन 3 लेवल्स में होता है. लेकिन ये तो हमारी बात हो रही है ना, भगवान की बात नहीं हो रही है, जीव की बात हो रही है. क्या वो कंफ्यूजन है क्या? दोबारा पढ़ो, बुक है आपके हाथ में, पढ़ो प्रभुपाद जी क्या लिख रहे हैं स्टेटमेंट में। लॉर्ड श्री चैतन्य सेज, पढ़िए।
That in the Vedas the subject matters are only three, namely to establish the relation of the living entities with the personality of Godhead, perform the relative duties in devotional service, and thus achieve the ultimate goal back to Godhead.
क्या समझ में आता है इससे? क्या बोल रहे हैं प्रभुपाद जी? चैतन्य महाप्रभु को कोट कर रहे हैं।
Talking about living entity.
हाँ, तो क्या है ये? बता रहे हैं कि पूरे वेदास में केवल 3 ही विषय वस्तु हैं। पहला, जीव का भगवान के साथ संबंध स्थापित करना, और दूसरा, उसका भगवान की प्रेममयी सेवा में संलग्न होना, और तीसरा क्या है कि उसे उसका जो लक्ष्य है उसे प्राप्त करना। तो बताइए, ये ब्रह्म परमात्मा से कोई
I
संबंध है क्या?
misunderstood.
अच्छा, कोई नहीं, तो राइट अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है वो बताइए। ये 3 क्या हैं? ये 3 तत्व क्या कहा जाता है? बहुत विशेष है ये 3 तत्व। What are the 3 subject matters, which is the subject matter of all the Vedas? केवल एक सिंगल हैंड ऊपर है, सबको पता होना चाहिए। अभी दूसरा भी आ गया, सबको पता होना चाहिए। दिस इज वेरी बेसिक। प्रदीप, व्हाट आर दिस 3? गोपाल, आपको तो नहीं पता है, बोलो, आपने हाथ तो उठा दिया, बोलो।
हरे कृष्णा।
हाँ,
यस प्रभु जी, इसमें बोला है बस हर एक मनुष्य के जीवन में 3 ही हर एक वेदास का हर
क्या है वो 3
पुराण
तत्व? क्या है? मैं वो 3
तीन
तत्व के
तत्व।
नाम पूछ रहा हूँ।
अच्छा, तत्व का नाम नहीं पता, ये समझ में आया कि 3 चीजें हैं कि
तो वो
हमारा
तत्व है, हाँ, वो 3 तत्व क्या है?
एक
एक्सप्लेनेशन
तो
नहीं, वो तो लिखा है इसमें,
एक्सप्लेनेशन। हाँ,
एक्सप्लेनेशन नहीं पूछ रहा, वो तत्व क्या है?
वो तत्व का नाम नहीं पता।
हाँ, वो तत्व ही नहीं पता है ना, तत्व का नाम नहीं, तत्व ही नहीं पता है।
अच्छा ठीक है।
अभी आप सुनो, आप जल्दी आए हो, जल्दीबाजी करोगे तो कुछ पकड़ नहीं पाओगे, ठीक है? आपका अभी नया एडमिशन हुआ है, अगर ध्यान पूर्वक सुनोगे तो धीरे धीरे सब समझने लगोगे, और अगर सुनने से पहले बोलने का प्रयास करोगे तो चूक जाओगे। बोलो देवाशीष, ये 3 तत्व क्या है? तुम्हारा मोबाइल चेंज होगा नहीं होगा? जो ऐसे ही रहोगे ब्लर।
हरे कृष्ण बोलिए।
हरे कृष्णा।
कोई पता नहीं है।
तो तुम गौड़िया वैष्णविज्म में हो ही नहीं। अगर ये 3 तत्व पता ही नहीं है तो तुम गौड़िया वैष्णविज्म में हो ही नहीं। बोलो प्रदीप। अभी बाकी लोगों का ट्यूब लाइट जो है उसमें थोड़ा थोड़ा रोशनी आने लगा है। प्रदीप, आई एम आस्किंग यू।
Not clear, Prabhupada.
हाँ, नॉट क्लियर, स्टिल नॉट क्लियर। जयशील प्रभु, it will be very embarrassing if you don't speak. The right
So,
thing, right
don't
tattva.
remember now actually what I'm trying to
No,
recall.
this cannot be forgotten. This cannot be forgotten. Do you ever forget your name? Or do you ever forget that what qualifications you have? Or do you ever forget where you are working? These are the 3 things. बोलिए सोनिका।
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Sambandh, Abhidheya or Prayojan.
You rascal, you were saying you don't know this. Sambandh, Abhidheya and Prayojan. Then what do you know? This is what we have to hear attentively. If Sambandh is not known, then what are we doing in bhakti? Class. One moment. Yes, probably something urgent. I'm having an online class. Can talk tomorrow. See. Okay. Dayashil, I want to talk to you. You open your microphone.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
How can you preach that if you don't know what is Sambandha? Can you not see what it is written? Please read.
Terminology, I'm not able to recall terminology.
Huh? What you are not able to read? Have you stopped seeing or what? Your vision
No,
is not
Prabhuji.
clear. Where is the book? Is the book in your hand or not? Then what were you saying in last 5 minutes, 7 minutes? We were pondering on the same point. This is not proper. This is not proper attention. This is inattention. This is actually offensive. This is the insult to Srimad Bhagavatam. In such clear terms it is written and you are saying, I cannot remember or I cannot connect. It discourages me. It discourages me so much. So the entire Vedic knowledge is about these three things. And from his childhood, Narad Muni was able to connect. This is something which is remarkable. This is something which is outstanding. This is his outstanding success. People may wander lifetimes after lifetime, but they are not able to connect. But as a child, as a small child, even in his adolescence, he was able to connect, render service. And by their mercy, it became clear what is his goal. What is the problem with us? The problem with us is we have no clarity of what the goal of life is. Anyway, I don't expect such inattention from you. You are one of the senior most devotees in this group. Thus, the vedānta-vādīs or the followers of the Vedanta are the pure devotees of the personality of Godhead. Such vedānta-vādīs or bhakti-vedāntas are impartial in distributing the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. To them, no one is enemy or friend. So this is the quality, the glories of those pure devotees, those pure sages, the bhakti-vedāntas, who were there for 4 months. So they were equal to everyone. No one is educated or uneducated. No one is especially favorable and no one is unfavorable. This is called samadarshina. Pandita samadarshina. The bhakti-vedāntas see the people in general are wasting time in false sensuous things. Their business is to get the ignorant mass of people to re-establish their lost relationship with the personality of Godhead. By such endeavor, even the most forgetful soul is roused up to the sense of spiritual life. And thus being initiated by the bhakti-vedāntas, the people in general gradually progress on the path of transcendental. Very, very important aspect of bhakti is being revealed here through the story of Narad Muni. How one begins to elevate or progress in the path of bhakti. So the vedānta-vādīs initiated the boy even before he became self-controlled. This is the secret. How Narad Muni started to progress or move on the spiritual ladder? Because he received the mahat kṛpāṁ. He received the causeless mercy of these sages. And how he received it? Because he served them. And not only he received mercy, they even initiated them. They even initiated them. So the boy became more and more advanced. He became self-controlled. He was detached from childish sporting. This is kṛpāṁ. How our deviation and distractions are minimized, not by our own sense control or our own discipline, by causeless mercy. Which is very essential for one who wishes to make progress in this line. Which line? In the spiritual line. What is most essential is to become disciplined, is to become detached, is to become self-controlled. In the system of varna-ashram dharma, which is the beginning of actual human life, small boys after 5 years of age are sent to become brahmacharis at the Guru ashram. Śrī Prabhupada is explaining how this discipline, how this obedience, how this self-control, and how this detachment can come. It can come only when this varna-ashram system of Gurukul or Guru ashram is followed. And from which age? The training begins at the age of 5. Where these things are systematically taught to every boy. Be he a king's son or a son of an ordinary citizen. The training was compulsory, not only to create good citizens of the state, but also to prepare the boy's future's life for spiritual realization. So because this system has been dispensed, so what we are receiving now, we are having such young men and women also, where the quality of obedience or control is minimal, or it is no control or no respect. But the culture of respect and obedience is completely waved off. It is completely wiped out. What to say of wave off? Is wiped out. So the seed of disobedience is there because of independence. From childhood, from the age of 5, the boy was completely dependent on the mercy of the spiritual master or the spiritual teacher. He could never in his heart have this desire to disobey or to disrespect. Even if he was the son of the king. So this type of training was compulsory. The fortunate will be those who will go in the Gurukul and become fit to be spiritually progressive. Otherwise, they will remain what? Dvipad Pashu. Shastra says that normally an animal has 4 legs. But the modern man is no better than an animal. Why? The reason for that is because he is not having the right training. He is not having the right education. And that education and training, what Narad Muni received. Narad Muni, see what a fortune. He was only one boy. And how many teachers he had? 4 advanced sages. It's so difficult to obey one teacher, isn't it? It is so difficult to obey one and to be able to satisfy 4 at a time. How difficult it would be. But because he served them, he received their kṛpā, sadhu kṛpā, mahat kṛpā, and he advanced. So Prabhupada is saying that it is imperative that we bring back this system of education if we actually want to progress in spiritual life. Otherwise, without Gurukul, there is no possibility of progress in spiritual path. Although the Gurukul that we have now is not the real representation of Gurukul, what Srila Prabhupada is talking about. But at least some glimpse of it is there. The irresponsible life of sense enjoyment was unknown to the children of the followers of the Varnashram system, not like now. Every child, since he is born, what is the birthright? Since the child is born, he has the birthright to play with mobile. You take away the mobile from him and you see his response. And this is the most potent factor in damaging his discipline. And what can the helpless mother and father do? Because they have to have mobile in their life, so the child will use. Recently, my driver Nitin, you all know Nitin. One day he came to me, Prabhuji, I have to go to bank. I said, why? What happened? बोले मेरे बैंक से सारे पैसे निकल गए. So I told him, how it happened? He said, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा. So he went to the bank, 2 days he went, and the bank gave him a statement, long statement, 4 or 5 pages, that when and how the money has been utilized. And what was the reason? That his child was playing some games, very young, 6 year, 8 year. And in that game, they were utilizing his bank account. I don't know from where they got the UPI PIN number. And they exhausted all his bank account money. Why? Because they have access to mobile. Very dangerous. Here Prabhupada is saying, very important. Prabhupada is giving this principle that the irresponsible life of sense enjoyment was unknown to the children of the follower of the Varnashram Dharma. A boy was even injected with spiritual acumen before being placed by the father in the womb of the mother. So that is the Garbhadhan Samskar. Both the father and the mother were responsible for the boy's success in being liberated from the material bondage. That is the process of successful family planning. This is what is family planning. This is what is to be planned. Before the child takes birth, the mother and father, they prepare in such a way that how they can liberate the child from the clutches of birth and death. Not that after one child we cannot have another child. That is not family planning. So how to do it? We have to have this system of Gurukul. Very important. The Britishers, when they came to India, so they studied the Indian culture, the Indian, heritage, and they saw that the roots are very, very strong. And they will never be able to rule India. So they thought of changing only one thing, which will change the culture and the strength of India. And what they did, they uprooted the Gurukul system and introduced the English system of education. And you see what is the result now. All the evils and all the ills of the Western world are prominently here in India. It is even more than what they are. Very important that the child from his birth has to be disciplined. And how he will be disciplined? It will depend on the purity of the practice of mother and father both. Prabhupada is warning here that the irresponsible life of sense enjoyment, it should be unknown to the children. That is the process for successful family planning. It is to beget children for complete perfection, without being self-controlled and without being disciplined and without being fully obedient. No one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. Three very important pillars for a spiritual practitioner. First is being self-controlled. Self-control means not being engaged in sense gratification. Second, without being disciplined and without being fully obedient. So Narad Muni had all these qualities from his very birth. Prabhupada says no one can become successful. There is no exception to it. In following the instructions of the spiritual master, and without doing so, no one is able to go back to Godhead. Then very, very important verse. Very important verse. Uttishta-lepan unumodito dvija sakrit samabunjetad apastakilbisha evam pravartasya vishuddha chetasas tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. Uttishta-lepanam. So while he was serving, while he was rendering all kinds of services to the bhakti-vedāntas, to the sages, he also had the opportunity of uttishta-lepana. Uttishta means the remnants, whatever is left over. And how he took the uttishta? Anumodita dvija. Not by, some manipulation or by some mischief. Many times we see devotees, they do that. But that is not very much recommended. What it is mentioned here, it is anumodita dvija. That he accepted the remnants of the foodstuffs which were honored by these sages with their permission. We should take the remnants with permission. If we get the opportunity, bhakta-pada dhuli, bhakta-pada jal, and bhakta-bhukta-avashesh. 18 Mahabal. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami is saying that if one is fortunate to receive these three things, what are the three things? Bhakta-pada dhuli, the dust from the feet of the lotus feet of a devotee, of a pure devotee, Bhakta-pada dhuli, or Bhakta-pada jala, if he is able to receive his charanamrit, that has washed the lotus feet of the devotee. And Bhakta-bhukta avashesh, the remnants. So 18 Mahabal. So these three are very, very potent factors in uplifting one in the path of bhakti and terminating his material existence. So here, Śrī Narad Muni is saying that he was able to honor the remnants of these sages by their permission, not otherwise. We will see when we will come in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a character of Jharu Thakur. Very, very extraordinary personality. Have you ever heard? Have I recited so far? No? Jharu Thakur? Jharu Thakur is the uncle of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And he is known. He is the contemporary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was very pleased with him because he was one such Chaitanya follower who took remnant of almost every devotee in Bengal and Odisha, everywhere. He did not spare anyone. Either Bhakta-pada dhuli or Bhakta-pada jal or Bhakta-bhukta avashesh. I remember I heard it from my teacher many, many years back. The very sweet section of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sometime it will come up. Naturally it will come up. I will not impose it. So Mahaprabhu was mighty pleased. And when he came to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu was doing the cleaning of Gundicha Mandir. In Gundicha Mandir episode, I have recited about it. Once I gave class many years back in the COVID times in our temple on the Gundicha margin. So Mahaprabhu was cleaning the temple, and this Thakur, Dharu Thakur, what he was doing? He was pouring water on the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya from one hand, and from the second hand he was sipping it. Ek Anjali, Dui Anjali, Teen Anjali Pila. And Mahaprabhu caught his neck and held him and gave him to Swarup Damodar and told him, throw him out. Throw him out. But inside Mahaprabhu was highly pleased. So Narad Muni's credit was that he took the remnants, Uchchist Lepana Anmodito Dvija. With the permission, with the approval of these bhakti-vedāntas, he with relish accepted their remnants. And he says, only once, by their permission, I took the remnants of their food, and by so doing, all my sins were at once eradicated. Sakrit sama bhunje tat apshita kilvishay. Kilvishay are sins. Sakrit means at one time. Bhunje means to be fried. Bhunje means it is eliminated or terminated. So once by taking their remnant, all the sins which were accumulated of millions of past life, they were burned into the fire. So by doing so, all my sins were at once eradicated. Thus being engaged, I became purified in heart. Evam pravartasya vishuddha chetasas. The chetana, the consciousness became vishuddha, purified. It became pravartasya. It became transformed by being engaged. Tad dharma evatma ruchi prajayate. And at that time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me. This is very, very important principle. Please try to focus on this. Our mind will not allow, but please hear what Śrī Narad Muni is explaining. That what is the process of progress in Krishna consciousness? I am repeating, only once by their permission I took the remnants of their food, and by doing so my sins were at once eradicated. Thus being engaged, I became purified in heart. What it means to be purified in heart, please catch it. At that time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me. This is very important because the next verse will connect with this. Prabhupada says that pure devotion is as much infectious in a good sense as infectious disease. So bhakti is what? It is contagious. A pure devotee is cleared from all kinds of sins. The personality of Godhead is the purest entity. Where do we know that the personality of Godhead is the purest entity? Anyone remembers where it is being mentioned that the personality of Godhead is the purest entity? See, when I am asking, I am basically asking from only one book. That book I expect that you all have studied and you know. Where it is mentioned that the personality of Godhead is the purest entity. Yes, Purushottam.
Prabhuji, Param Brahma Param Pavitra, like this.
Yeah. Arjuna Uvacha. After hearing Bhagavad-gītā, after hearing the Chatur Shloki, Arjuna says, Param Brahma Param Dhamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. So Arjuna is glorifying. What is he doing? What the word said in the previous verses, what we were seeing, that What was the instruction of Narad Muni to Vyasadeva? Uttam shloke gunanu varnanam. And that, where is that varnan? Varnan is in Bhagavad-gītā. That is the stuti. The stuti should be there. So, the Supreme Lord is the purest of all the personalities. And unless one is equally pure from the infection of material quality, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord. So the bhakti-vedāntas, as above mentioned, were pure devotees, and the boy became infected with their qualities of purity by their association, sangha, and by eating once the remnants of their foodstuffs. This is called Maha-Maha-Prasad. And the boy became infected with their qualities by, such remnants may be taken even without permission of the pure devotees. Who is speaking? Please hear what Prabhupada is saying. Such remnants may be taken even without permission of a pure devotees. I have one instance in my life. Once I was serving His Holiness Keshav Bharati Swami Maharaj, many years back, before I had joined full time also. I came from outside and we were only two. Maharaj was having his dinner and I was, in front of him. Maharaj had called me for some service and Maharaj was honoring. And he had almost finished. So Maharaj, stood up. He placed his plate in my hand and he went into the washroom. So for 1 or 2 minutes I waited. Then my mind thought that this is the most golden opportunity. Maharaj has finished. He has gone to the washroom to wash his hand and he has left his avashesh. So what have I to do? I have to do only one thing. I have to honor it. And whatever little was left, I honored it. And after a few minutes, Maharaj came back. And he wanted to get his plate back from my hand. But now I was not giving because I had honored from him. Then he asked me, what did you do? I said, Maharaj, whatever was the remnant, I honored it. And he really blasted me. He said, you rascal. I was to take my sweet and you finished it without asking me. And believe me, I was shivering. And I said, Maharaj, I am extremely sorry. I could not understand. And immediately I rushed. I rushed from the guest house room to come to the shop, which is looked after by me near the restaurant, because to find some sweet. And there I found few sweets and I came back and gave it to Maharaj. And Maharaj was laughing and laughing and laughing. Of course, he took that sweets. But here Prabhupada is saying that if you get the opportunity, don't miss it. Even without permission. So Prabhupada is writing, I am again reading. See. One time what I did, my teacher, who was teaching me Bhakti Shastri, I was serving him. Intentionally, I served little more so that he would leave, but he was very cautious. He never left anything for anyone to take from his plate. He would finish it. If he would not finish it, he would carry it, but he would not leave for the students to eat. So that day I saw he put it in the garbage bin. I could see it. I took it out from the garbage bin and honored it. So Prabhupada is saying that, but don't imitate. If you imitate without having faith, it will not work. One place Prabhupada has written that you will die of infection. It is not to be imitated. Prabhupada is saying here that such remnants may be taken even without permission of the pure devotees. There are sometimes pseudo devotees, and one should be very much cautious about them. There are many things which hinder one from entering the devotional service. But by the association of pure devotees, all these obstacles are removed. The neophyte devotee becomes practically enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee, which means attraction to the personality of Godhead's name, fame, quality, pastimes, etc. How? Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of pure devotion always in the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. This transcendental taste is at once makes all material things distasteful. Therefore, a pure devotee is not at all attracted by material activities. After the elimination of all sins or obstacles on the path of devotional service, one can become attracted. One can have steadiness. One can have perfect taste. One can have transcendental emotions. And at last, one can be situated on the plane of loving service to the Lord. All these stages develop by association of pure devotees, and that is the purport of this stanza. So we will see. So this infection got into the heart of Narad Muni. And how this virus, this infection worked, that we will see in the later verses. Hare Krishna. I am sorry I had to strongly chastise you, Dayashil, but I cannot expect that you forget what is Sambandh, Abhidheya and Prayojan. That is very, very disheartening. This is the lifeline for our practice in bhakti. So we have to be very attentive. And please, to the extent we are attentive, the advantage of Bhagavatam will come. It is a science. It is a pure science. To the extent the sincerity is there, the attention is there. Sincerity means attention. And of course, in Kali Yuga, it is a big challenge to have attention, because every moment we are distracted. So, but please try and concentrate. The purpose of this study is to try and bring back and revive our consciousness and to connect with the Supreme Lord. So kindly keep the book with you. We are not spending time. We are not in a, formality of going through the Bhagavatam. We are going through each and every word of Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is giving each principles with such clarity. You will see what is the outstanding quality of self-control, discipline, and obedience. If we have these three things, then there is all success in spiritual life. Not only in spiritual life, in any sphere of life. So kindly read. Only just once discussing, and we are not having much discussion. I am only practically reading. And if we are not having discussing, it will become a passive reading. It will not penetrate them. It will remain in the book. It will not enter into our heart. I'll stop here. It is quite a time. It is 9:20. If you have any genuine question, you may ask, or any discussion. The previous life of Narad Muni is explained by Narad Muni himself to Maharaj Yudhishthir in Srimad Bhagavatam itself. If those of you are interested, it is mentioned in the 7th canto, 15th chapter, from verse number 69 to 73. You can see what Narad Muni. This is not from this past life. The past life is of the maid servant, which is mentioning here. But before he became maid servant, what is his past life? That is also mentioned. So how he became? To become a son of a maid servant, a Shudra, is a curse. So what was the curse which he became a Shudra or a maid servant son? And in this position of a maid servant son, what he achieved? Such success that he became Devrishi Narad. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bos. Hare Krishna.